Alright, so welcome back. If you're back, appreciate you spending a couple minutes of your time with me. Um, if you haven't watched my first video, posted a video about my testimony, telling a little bit of my story. There's definitely so much more that if Jesus Christ wants me to continue doing this and spreading the word, spreading the gospel, spreading the Holy Bible, spreading Christianity, if he wants me to do it, then I'm gonna do it, even if it only helps 10 people all the time that I make it. Like, let's say I make 100 videos and I can only help like 10 people. It's worth it. Um, okay, first of all, I'd like to say, um, if you enjoy these videos, share them, like them, subscribe, all that stuff. The topic of today's video is going to be materialism versus true happiness or happiness. Um, I don't have a lot of money. If I'm being completely honest, I have like $4,000 max. I'm just trying to be honest. I'm not even trying to flex or anything. Straight up, $4,000 isn't a lot, and I've been working for a minute. When I started working, I just spend. Why? Because I was like, what's the point of saving if I knew I have another check coming in? You feel me? And that's like a really bad mindset to have, because let's take today for example. If I would have saved money, I could have had my car right now. I could have had a lot more money saved up. I could have saved or invested. I could have done a lot of things, but the majority of people that don't have a good foundation, and when I mean foundation, I'm just trying to like say people who aren't religious, are atheists, believe in a God but don't really stick to a side. If you're not this and you're not that, then you're in the middle. You can't be in the middle. You feel me? So what I'm trying to say is, like let's say this watch, right? This watch is just metal. Like, you feel me? It's really just metal. But what happens when someone looks at it? They're like, oh, like that person has money, or oh, that person's successful, or oh, that person. You know what I mean? Like, just because if I were to spend all my money, all the $4,000, and buy like the most expensive clothes, the most luxurious brands, people would look at me different, and that's pretty sad. Because if I'm wearing a freaking Gucci backpack, if I'm wearing a Gucci sweater, like shoes, like, yo, all that doesn't mean anything. Especially, I've heard it multiple times in rap music. Like, 21 Savage said, pretty much, he's like, I'd rather be broke in jail than dead and rich. When you die, you're not going to be able to take your your cars, your house, your savings, your bank account. All that doesn't mean anything when you die. And that's something that's said a lot, but I'm starting to understand, because when I started working, when I got that, let's say my first paycheck, put $500. When I got those $500 made me happy for about a day or two, and that's it. What I mean by that I can spend all my money however I like. Luxury brands, food, entertainment. I got the new PS5. You know how many times I've used that thing? Like, honestly, No more than 10 times since Christmas. 15 times max. And I'm being dead honest. All that stuff doesn't make me happy. When I didn't have Jesus Christ in my life, all of that stuff, I bought all that stuff to like try to fill like that emptiness in me. I thought that if I have enough money, if I have enough success, if I have enough cars, if I had an expensive car, if I end up buying a really big house I'm only gonna probably use 1-2 rooms. Like all of that doesn't mean anything if you're not happy. Like there's billionaires that have everything that someone can possibly want, but most of them, I'm not saying all of them because I don't know all of them, but I'm sure that most of them aren't as happy as someone who's just living check by check, but maybe they're not rich financially, but they're rich. This is gonna sound corny, but stick with me. They're rich in the spirit. What do I mean by that? When people say I'm rich in spirit, or when people say my soul is, I feed my soul, like that just means like that in you. I'm not talking physically. I'm not talking like in my chest. I'm talking like in my heart, where if something happens, if a loved one dies, if something traumatic happens, if this happens, you're going to feel that emptiness. You're going to feel that hurt, not in your heart, in your soul. You feel me? I don't know if that makes sense, but man, it's indescribable. It's incomprehensible, like I've said before in my last video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But let's say out of 10 people watching, if 2 people believe me, what more can I ask for, to be honest? Like, if 1 person believes me, that's all I need, because with 1 person, I can change. If I can change 1 person's life, and I mean, what I mean by that's, if they start looking for Jesus Christ, like that's a huge win for me. Why? Because someone else talked to me about Jesus Christ, and if that person never talked to me, I'd be either still doing drugs, or let me rephrase that, doing stronger drugs, because my body was craving that. It's just, not to sound corny, not to sound better than someone, but I honestly feel sad for friends and family members that are going through a tough time. And I'm like, I try to check in with them and be like, hey, what's up? How are you? This, that. But at the end of the day, if someone doesn't want to change, there's nothing in the world I can do to make that person change. You feel me? Like, this goes for family members, strangers, friends. If a person is not willing to change, something dramatically or traumatic has to happen for them to wake up. And that's what happened to me. I got hospitalized in April, May. I'm not too sure, but not too long after I graduated, I got hospitalized in Mission Viejo Hospital, and I went to a rehab facility, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure Mission Viejo has a rehab, drug addiction or rehab facility. Like, when you experience Jesus Christ, when you start to pour out all of those deep dark thoughts, those deep dark feelings that are in you, and you start like just confessing to Jesus, am I gonna say like right after you're gonna feel like you're the man? No. But you're starting off somewhere. You're starting off small. I'm not saying like tomorrow convert and follow the 10 commandments, do this, do that. Like, no. Do you guys think like do you guys think that I didn't even have one of these in my house, you feel me? The person that and I'm really grateful for this book because if anyone has heard the saying, but that is they call it the living book because that book is one of the most important books in history, in my opinion. Is that a bold statement? Yeah, but it's the number one selling book in the world. So you don't believe me? Look that up. Money can't buy happiness. Period. Can it buy happiness for like a day or two? Sure. But then after, what happens in that after that week, after that month? When you get bored of that BMW that you're driving, when you get bored of that watch that you have, when you get bored of that house that big ass house that, excuse my language, but that big house that you only use 2 rooms, 2 out of 6 rooms, like it's not gonna, it's not something sustainable. It's not something that one can, without any sort of foundation, you're gonna struggle. Am I saying that if you if you look for Jesus Christ that you're gonna have no more struggles? It's actually the complete opposite. I'll get into that in another video because I'm starting to cut it long, but when you know you're starting to do God's work, when you know you're starting to fulfill your purpose, when you know you're starting to get closer and closer to God, unexplainable things happened. Unexplainable things happen. Example, today at work was very, very, very different, to put it simply. Normally at work, I can talk to customers just fine, have a 1 to 2 minute conversation, and after that say bye. But ever since something life changing happened to me, I'm not even talking about Jesus, like I'm talking about real life, some issues that popped up, ever since that happened, it's like if God is literally flipping a new page as I speak right now. Not to get in too much into that, because that's personal, not in the sense of my sake, but in the sense of in general. But if you think you found Jesus because you have no problems, no this, no that, like your day, every day is going just fine, it's actually the quite opposite. Because if you don't have any problems and if you're happy the way you are, if you're happy the way you are without Jesus, am I saying you can't be happy without Jesus? Of course you can be happy. But for how long? What happens when something traumatic happens? What happens when you have a family member dies? What happens when you don't have a job? What happens when for whatever reason you go into addiction? What happens when you become depressed? What happens when you break up with someone? Like, these are all things that can happen to everyone. To close this off once again, happiness cannot be bought. It can be earned. If you guys don't believe me, that's fine. Am I saying that before I met Jesus Christ I believed in everything? No, little by little. Do you know, like, for the next video I'm gonna talk Christianity versus Catholicism versus I don't know how many religions are there, like hundreds of religions, that's just how you know like something's not the way it should be. But anyways, like, subscribe, share. I appreciate it. Peace.